For our next webinar, we're going to dive into the final RFP for GSA Polaris. We're going to talk about how you put this thing together, some of the pitfalls you look for, and some of the ambiguities. As is true with many of these large government-wide points-based evaluation, large contracts. Not everything is completely clear. The opportunity to ask questions is still open. Questions are not due for several days. So we're going to deal with that, give you some suggested questions, and really try to take a look with a fine-tooth comb at what this RFP is all about and how you can submit the best possible response. Kathy, you've been talking to your customers and thinking about this for several days now. What's your perspective on Polaris?
Well, it's just like any large GWAC. What you see in the RFP when it hits the street and what ends up being the actual bid, it's like night and day. And, you're going to hear from people tell you, oh, bid what's there, because you can't risk. And that's actually not true. What you need to do is use this as an opportunity to push back on GSA to say, this doesn't work. And actually, after our webinar last Friday, you saw there was a company that actually went in and pushed back on the whole JV with the mentor being able to give 5 of the project experiences. And as we all know, 76,000 out of the 95,000 points are going to be for those 5 project experiences. So this is a big deal. So I think what makes a little bit of how we look at this process is now's your opportunity to shape what's out there. I mean, they put out, I think on the 18th, their changes. And then, like a week later, a little over a week later, they put out the RFP. Well, they didn't want feedback, but they're going to get it. So I think that it's important that you use this time period. Yeah, you should start thinking about your proposal and your partners and all of that, but be ready to shift. As we saw in COSP 4, companies that weren't even in all of a sudden got in because of the changes that happened. I'm not saying that's going to happen with GSA. It's a different customer, but we're going to talk a little bit about what those ambiguities are that you should be pushing back on. We're even going to help you put together a list of questions for GSA. So I think that right now, that's the most important thing, is being proactive on this and shaping this RFP and not accepting what's there.
Yeah, exactly. I think we all have to look at this and think about what Polaris really needs to be in order to be the best possible contract vehicle, both for industry as well as for the government. And we need to look at this, Kathy, like you said, as an opportunity to shape this. We're also going to be joined by Josh Duvall, who is now a partner at Maynard Cooper and Gale. He's going to give us a legal perspective on these things. He's also going to be available to answer your questions, and you're going to get some very high quality deliverables out of this webinar. We're of course going to give you the full access to the recording and the slide deck. And as Kathy mentioned, we're going to develop a suggested Q&A response document that you can take, customize for your own firm's particular needs, and then use these to send this back to the government. What we've really found is that government contracting officers listen when multiple firms say the same thing. So it's really in our best interest to come together as a small business community and give the right kind of response back to the government so that they clearly hear from us. This is one of those opportunities. Kathy, you've talked about it before, where government will listen when we use the right channels and we all talk together.
Yeah, and GSA said last fall, we are going to listen to those comments that we hear a lot of pushback on, or a lot of, they didn't say the word pushback. I think they said a lot of suggested on. What happened between that draft RFP in the fall and now is a lot of joint ventures got on there and said, the mentor protege one, and said, how can you prevent us? The FAR says we can use our mentor. That's what happened. They came in and they pushed it, and that's how it went where it went. So if you're sitting back and going, well, this webinar, it will do the normal thing we always do, which is tell you what's in there. But how is that of value to me? I'm telling you right now, GSA said it is of value to us. Please tell us what you have issues with, because we will change based on your feedback.
Yep, they do not want a repeat of Alliant 2 small business, and I think we're all ready to work together to help make sure that that does not happen. So join us Thursday coming up at noon, and we'll have a great time. Myself, Kathy, Josh, we're looking forward to having a great discussion and all learning together how we can help make GSA a great GWAC. So we look forward to seeing you on Thursday. Thanks very much.
Thanks.